All right, so today we're going to be solving equations with a variable on both sides of the equation. At the top here, I put the steps to solving equations. So the first thing we're going to do is solve anything in the parentheses, distribute whatever we have to do. Then you're going to clear the fractions by multiplying by the least common denominator. Then you're going to combine like terms. Then you're going to add or subtract to get the variables on one side. And then that leaves you with dividing. So let's start with a couple simple ones here. So for the first one, we want to get the variables on one side. We already see that negative 6d is over here. So if we move that, we're going to be left with nothing over here. So we can't do that. So I'm going to take d and move it to the left side. Right now it's a positive d. We want to subtract it to bring it to the opposite side. Negative 6 minus 1 is going to be negative 7d. Then I'm going to divide by negative 7. And we're just going to rewrite this. Remember, I want you to leave it as a fraction. So negative 4/7. All right, example 2. Looks like we have parentheses here. So for the first thing, I'm going to distribute. So we get 2c, 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Rewrite the rest of the equation. No fractions to clear, no like terms, so we want to move the variables to one side. It doesn't matter which one you move. I like to keep my variables on the left side, so I just typically do that. So I'm going to subtract 9c from both sides. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. I'm going to rewrite everything, keep it nice and neat. I'm going to bring this 12. I need to bring it to the other side. So right now it's minus 12. I need to add 12. Get c by itself, we have to divide by negative 7. c equals negative 2. Those were some easy ones to do. Next example, we have variables on both sides. First thing, I don't see parentheses, I don't see fractions, so I'm going to move variables to one side. I'm going to move this 8x to the left, so I'm going to subtract 8x. I'm subtracting 8x because 8x is positive right here. We do the opposite of the sign. So because it was positive, we're thinking of it as taking it and moving to the other side. We have to subtract it. Cancels out. 6 minus 8 is negative 2x plus 3 equals negative 21. I need to get x on this side and keep it there, so I'm going to move this 3 to the other side. Now we got to remember, negative 21 minus 3. That's negative 24. Divide by negative 2. We're left with positive 12. Okay. All right, example 4. Same thing, I don't see parentheses, I don't see fractions, I don't see that I have to combine any like terms, so I'm just going to move the variables. So I'm going to take 5k and move it to the left side. Right now it's positive, we have to do the opposite. When we subtract that, we get 2k. Leave the k on the left side, so I'm going to move the 4. 16 plus 4 is 20. Divide by 2. We get 10. So you should be noticing the same pattern. Once we get to this point, we're either adding or subtracting the constant to the other side, then we're dividing. Happens in most problems. All right, flipping it over to the next side. I see a lot of fractions in this one. So first thing we're gonna do is distribute. So I'm gonna distribute the 1/3 to everything in the parentheses. So we have 1/3 x plus 4/3. And then I'm just gonna write that -9 over here. It wasn't in the parentheses, so we're not gonna multiply it. Distribute this 1/2. 1/2 times 6 is 3. 1/2 times -x. And then bring that -4 there. Okay, now I want to get rid of these fractions. So I'm looking all across here. 3, 3, 2. Least common denominator would be 6. So I'm going to multiply everything in this parentheses by 6. If you want to put a little dot to show that it's multiplication, you can. All right, so when I do that, this turns into 2x. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 6 times -9 is -54. Bring it over here. 3 times 6 is 18. -1/2 times 6 is -3x. -4 times 6 is -24. All right. Next step was like terms. Do we see any like terms on each side? I do, right here and right here on the right. So we're gonna rewrite it 2x, 8 minus 54 is -46. 18 minus 24 is -6, and then we're gonna bring down that -3x. If you need to use a calculator for some of these, that's okay, because I know we're kind of refreshing those integer rules. All right, now we have variables on both sides. I want to move the x's to one side, so I'm going to add 3x to bring it to the left. So we get 5x minus 46 equals -6. I got to move 46 to the other side. We get 5x equals -6 plus 46 is 40. Divide by 5. X equals 8. A lot of work for that problem. Oh my goodness. But do you see how we just simplified and simplified and simplified until we got to that final answer? All right, example 6. I see parentheses, so that's the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So we have 5y minus 2y minus 4 equals, now here, this is a -1. We have to distribute that. So we get -2y minus 15. Gotta be careful with that. All right, like terms. I'm gonna subtract here. We're gonna turn this into 3y. I need to bring the y's to one side. I'm going to bring this one over here. Rewrite everything. Get 5y by itself, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. -15 plus 4 is -11. Divide by 5. Keep your answer like this. Unless they tell you differently and they say to write it as a decimal, then you want to do that. All right, moving on to some special cases. You might get problems that look like this, and I'm going to show you what's different about these. So let's take a look. 5z minus 9 equals 3z minus 9 plus 2z. So first thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. So 3 plus 2 is 5z. All right, now let's look. Is it the exact same thing on each side? Yes. And if I move these 9s, they're both going to cancel out. So we're left with 5z equals 5z. Same thing would happen if I moved the 5s. I would subtract them, we'd get 0. It just wouldn't work. So this is called identity, or you might see it as infinitely many. Kind of just depends, but there's many words for it. Identity or infinitely many. So when both sides are exactly the same, that's going to be identity or infinitely many. Another possible answer you might get, I'm actually going to distribute here because I already saw those parentheses. 3n minus 3. On this side we had like terms. 5n minus 2n is 3n plus 3. Okay, let's subtract 3n from both sides. Okay, if I subtract it, I get nothing, right? Well, let's bring the 3 to the other side. It just does not work. There's no solution for this. So your answer would be no solution. Okay, so when both sides do not equal each other, variables are canceled out, there's no variables, then it's going to be no solution. So you might see a couple like that. All right, the last one is a word problem. Just want to do one with you because you will see it again. A square and a rectangle have equal perimeters. The length of a side of the square is 4x minus 1. The length of the rectangle is 2x plus 2, and the width is 2x. Write and solve an equation to find x. Okay, so we're comparing a square and a rectangle and the perimeters. So for a square, we know that all 4 sides are the same length. So if we're talking about the perimeter, we could take 4x minus 1 and multiply that by 4 to figure out the perimeter of the whole thing. So I'm going to do the square on the left side. Here's the square. That's how we'd find the perimeter of the square. Now for the rectangle, you have the length, 2x plus 2. The width is 2x. There's 2 sides for each. So to figure out that, we would want to take 2 and multiply it by the length, and then add it to 2 times the width. So perimeter, remember, you're adding all 4 sides together. So by multiplying our square length by 4, that tells us all 4 sides. Multiplying the length and the width by 2 would give all 4 sides of the rectangle. So we want to see what the equation would be to find x. So I'm going to solve this now. So I'm going to distribute. 4 times 4x is 16x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 2 times 2x, which is 4x again. Okay, so now let's simplify. We have like terms here. I'm going to keep this over here. 4x plus 4x is 8x plus 4. I'm going to move my x's to one side. 16 minus 8 is 8x. Add my 4 to the other side. 8x equals 8. Divide by 8. X equals 1. So we were trying to find what x meant in the whole equation. It was equal to 1. Okay, so you might see some problems like that, word problems. Mainly, I just wanted you to focus on solving variables on both sides and being aware of the 5 steps you need to do in order to solve them. All right, so you're going to need these notes in this video to do the problems following. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.